Hey everybody, how's it going? So today I'm going to take you through like a in-depth tour of a gaming PC, kind of show you a little bit of how to make one, generally what's in it, just kind of give some ideas for maybe some of you who are looking at making one, maybe want to be creative with it, customize their PC a little bit, and are just looking for general ideas of what to do. I know that whenever I first customized mine, that I went online and did a lot of Google searching on images and what people have done with it, and there's still a lot more that I want to do, but right now I just kind of want to walk through the basics of what the actual case build looks like, the hardware inside. I'll try and break it down for some of those more basic users who aren't necessarily key to what all the statistics means, and then make it a little more advanced for those who really understand it. So this is my rig. This is the actual case that I went with. It's the Cooler Master Stormtrooper version. Cooler Master did make two different versions of this. They came out with a second one. I forgot what the name was, but it basically looked the exact same as this. It's just it was white, and it had the option of having a window panel here, so it was about and then there's little side vents on the side. It sold pretty well, but the Stormtrooper, I'm pretty sure still topped it by a little bit, if I remember correctly. However, the Stormtrooper did not have a window unit, so eventually Cooler Master came back and introduced a window unit that you can buy separately and install. Eventually I will get one, but I'll go back into that a little bit later. So it would just kind of come over to the side a little bit, you know, your standard window. It's not tinted or anything. I know Cooler Master makes some tinted windows, but this one would just be standard. It's a high tower case. I did a lot of customization on my own with spray paint and just kind of changing some of the grills in the front, spray painting them. Obviously on the side, two USB 3.0s, regular USB 2.0s. You have your headset jacks, you have your reset button, and you even have a SATA port. I thought that was pretty cool. Good idea. So you have this huge power button here, which I love because it's ginormous. It's not plugged in right now, so it's not going to turn on. This is for the fans that come with it. There are two customizable fans that come with the case, and you can adjust the lighting on them, or you can adjust the fan speed even, so you go higher and lower. And one thing that I thought was pretty nifty is while you adjust the fan speed, there's lights here, which are red, and they will adjust, so this one will be lit up, and if you make it slower, it'll be only this one and this one, and then when you make it faster, it'll go back up, so I thought it was a pretty cool little feature. You do have some pull-out trays that collect dust. You have one over here, where you could mount a 200mm fan. You have one down here. I'm gonna get my fingers. I don't know if I can actually get it one-handed. Yeah, you need about two hands. Anyway, it's a small one that goes under your PSU. It's actually kind of further back, but there are fan slots down there, so it covers pretty well. As for your grill, you have plenty of room in the front to add whatever you want. If you want to put like a fan control unit up here, or maybe like a water reservoir for your bay station. You have one of the things I thought was really cool with the Cooler Master, and I took it out because I put fans in there instead, is this little front comes off, and there's actually a little compartment that you can slide in, and it'll slide in right there, and then you can slide it back out, and inside that compartment you can keep all your screws and all your extra cables or whatever that you have for the case itself. Move on to the next segment now, that you've seen enough of the case. Well, actually, I'll show you the back real quick just in case. Not many people use this, but if you do, it does have your water coolant tubes. And, yeah. Alright, now for the inside. First off, just kind of want to show you the general layout for the basic users of how internal parts of your computer case are going to look. Generally, unless you have a really custom case, you're always going to have the motherboard, which is going to be that back PSU down there. That's always going to be upright normally, with the front bus right here facing the back so that you can obviously have your ports in the back. This is pretty basic stuff. You have your 24 pin normally on the side. This model, the bottom, is for USB 3.0 and all your front ports. That'll be up in the front here. Generally though, this is where the actual action takes place. Even in a smaller case or a mid-tower case, you might have some room on the side. My layout itself is I have the 2 fans here. They're both sucking in. I've got my 2 fans down here, which this is where your tray would go. That one with the little, you can put the screws and the tools and all that. See this little sliding bar right here, it'll just slide in, but it'll be all the way on the bottom. So obviously you wouldn't be able to put a fan there. And like I said, I have my ports, the holes where the air can come in, and then there's the dust collector right underneath that, and the other one for the PSU right under that. So anyway, I wanted to put some more fans here, so they have 220 millimeters. I both have them sucking in as well. I have a large 200 millimeter. These are all Cooler Master fans. Your general, I wanted a bunch of air intake from pretty much all sides, and this is kind of up to you guys, but I did some research and found that generally you want to have all your lower parts, you want to have to be intake. So you're going to be pulling cold air in from here, even on the side, I like to do. And then the upper region is going to be your extake. Why? Because hot air rises and cold air falls. So all that hot air is going to be blown across, cool air will be blowing in, pushing the hot air, and then it'll all already gather up here, just how general physics work. You're gonna have your hot air already up here, so you want to suck it out, and then you want to blow it out. So I have another 200 millimeter. So I got that 250 millimeter up there, and I've got it actually sucking this time instead of blowing, and it's gonna be sucking all that hot air and blowing it out of the way. This one as well, blowing it out. And then, of course, there's that dust tray up there that's going to be catching a lot of that. Now, as for the CPU coolant, I chose the Cooler Master Evo 212 because, as for air coolant goes, this one had a lot of great reviews. It's large. It's made of these copper intake, copper, I guess, extake, because it would be moving the heat away from the actual CPU itself. And the copper is very good for conducting all the heat, so that's why it's better to use those than any other kind of like just regular alloy that a lot of the cheaper ones use. So anyway, it's going to pull those off, and then of course you have 140 millimeter, I believe, fan on the side to be able to blow it across that heat sink and get it out of there, and it's going to collect on this fan. And so as much cable management that you can do is best, though. As much of these that you can kind of shove in the back and just barely have some overlaying would be optimal, just because they do run a little bit of heat, and nobody wants to look at ugly cables, you know, all jumbled up there. The only ones that I do have that I can't really do anything with are these, and they just kind of like will lay in this general area, but they run to my fan on my this is how I did my cable management. This is generally pretty much what it's going to look like. It's not the prettiest side, but that's why if you notice on the side panel, this is all covered. You don't have some window because nobody wants to look at a bunch of cables. It's just no. Unless you custom sleeve your cables and you custom length them and build them yourself, which I have seen some people do. Way too much work? No, not for me. So I do have this where I can see through. And I'm going to get some air flowing out, but it's only in this general area, which there isn't a bunch of crap. I generally can't see these cables because they're black anyway, and so they kind of blend in with the side. It does kind of bulge out here a little bit, so it gives you a little extra room with your cables, and I really enjoy that because, again, I don't have to really push it against my cables and slide it, which generally you wouldn't want to do anyway. If you're having to do that, you probably want to redo your cable management. Okay, so this is just some of my equipment that I'm going to be talking a little bit more about in depth. I'm going to go over my changes between my processors, graphics cards, and a little bit more of the data on the motherboard, my mouse, and power supply. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at a little bit more in-depthly is the motherboard. Now they made a few different versions within this series, depending on the years that progressed. This is the 2011 performance model. As I said, it's the Gigabyte version, so it's the 990 FX-A UD3. Now, the reason why I chose this was because of the speed that it allowed, a lot of the options for the specific model on the front bust of it, with some of the USB options that it allowed, and audio options. It in itself supports both of the types of CPUs that I've had, with the going from the Phenom 2, which is AMD, to the AMD FX series. This specific motherboard is only for AMD processors. Generally, you have two types of motherboards. You'll have those that support AMD, and then those that support Intel. And it's only set for the chipset of that specific manufacturer. So if you have an Intel motherboard, then you're not going to be able to support an AMD CPU. They're just, the pins are not going to line up, and it's not designed to run the same. The statistics on this, though, is that it has a 2600 megahertz transfer rate on the actual PCB itself, which I really enjoyed because that's going to allow me to overclock a little bit more, because it's going to be able to support those higher speeds and frequencies that will be running through this system. Some of the other nice things is that it's able to hold up to 32 gigabytes of DDR3 memory, which I'm never going to use 33. Like I said, I am only using 8 right now, which is actually a correction. I'm using the 1800 megahertz, not 16. I think I accidentally said 16 earlier. But yeah, this will support all your standard 1066, 1800, 1600, whichever that you're going to use. DDR3 SATA 6.0 for your hard drive, so that's a lot faster of a processing speed. Fantastic motherboard for me. I've had no problems with it. If you'd like to look it up, you can see more performance data on it on Newegg. Okay, the next topic that I wanted to hit was the processors that I switched between. Originally, I used a AMD Phenom 2, which is the 6-core version of this. It was clocked at about 3.3 gigahertz factory. It itself, I'm pretty sure it was about 100 watts that's needed. It wasn't a bad processor, and it definitely supplied me with all the power that I needed. It had about 6 of L3 cache, and I think 4 of L2. But the problem with this was it didn't have the core clock that I wanted, and I did eventually clock it to 3.9 from 3.3, so there was only a 0.6 difference, or 6,000 megahertz if you want to put it that way. It wasn't that bad, but eventually it started to do a little bit of damage on this. Once I took away the clocks, it was perfectly fine. The cool thing about this is that it is an unlocked version of the processor, meaning that you can clock it as high as you want. It's not smart to do, but if you know what you're doing, then you should be fine with it. When I switched, though, I'm now running the FX-8350, which is one of the much higher ends of AMD, almost one of the top ones that they have right now. And the reason why I switched over to this is because it comes factory with a 4.2 turbo clock, which means that I don't have to worry about clocking it even close, or any at all, to even get close to 4.0 gigahertz, which with this one, obviously it was only 3.3, so I would have to do 700 megahertz of clocking just to get it up to below where this one is. So yes, it does have the turbo clock of 4.2. Generally, I have it set in my BIOS to stay at that. Not all the time, but at all times it has always been running at 4.128. So it's not actually at its baseline, which is a 4.0 gigahertz processor. It's running at 4.128. This is the 8-core version of this processor, which is the only version that they have. Like I said, this is one of the top lines. The only one that beats it is the FX-8350 9 something. I forgot exactly what the name was. Itself uses 125 watts, so that's a pretty stable comparison. That's 220. That's just crazy amount of heat and power to a processor. I don't think that would be a smart idea. So I went with this one. It's been completely stable. It's running super smooth for everything I need. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to go over was the PSU, or Power Supply Unit, as it's called. And this is a Cooler Master 700 watt Braun rated power supply, which for me gets the job done. I'm not really looking for a lot of the modular units right now or anything like that. This is doing fine. Basically, the difference between this and a modular unit means that in this one, all the cables come out at once as one giant bundle, and you can't really switch it. They're just integrated into this. A modular allows you to connect whatever cables that you absolutely want and the ones that are necessary, and the others you don't have to plug up at all. But yeah, this has been all I need. Basically gives me the wattage I need and the power I need, so why not stick with it. The next thing is the mouse. I'm not going to go over this very much just because it's only a mouse, but it's a Cooler Master. Again, Cooler Master. Pretty much everything I have on my computer that can be made by Cooler Master is Cooler Master. So this one has been very nice. Its DPI settings can range a lot. As you can see, it can range from 4,000 all the way down to 800, and just at the click of a button, you can pretty much do it. So you have these two settings right here, and these will change the DPI setting on your mouse instantaneously. So it does have a bunch of side panel buttons, which is nice. It's very comfortable in your hand. It fits my hand very well. It's made out of a really nice material. It's not just any kind of cheap plastic. It's actually really nice. The scroll bar is locked pretty tight, so you're not going to accidentally hit it, but whenever you do want to scroll, it has nice rivets. Yeah, overall it's a nice mouse. I'm going to go over the difference real quick between my two GPUs, graphics processing units, or graphics cards, that I have, and the two that I switched between. Now running this. I used to run this. So this was a Radeon HD 6790 series by AMD. Boost clock was 900 megahertz, I'm pretty sure. Its memory clock was only 1100, and that's just really low. So it wasn't enough for what I needed. It did have a really good cooler unit though, for only having one fan on it. I was pretty surprised, even though fans don't make it necessarily, but it's kind of shocking to see it only have one. It had those copper coolant rails though, to be able to take all that heat off the actual GPU itself, so that was rather nice. But one of the biggest hindrances was the performance I could give. It only had a gigabyte of memory, which it's not that great. So between that and the clocks, yeah, it wasn't performing to what I needed. So this is a Geforce Nvidia card, and it's the 760 model, the 4GB version of the 760 model, might I put it that. This is actually a little bit, I wouldn't say rare, but it's not the normal model. The normal was only the 2GB version. This is a 4GB version. I've read mixed reviews about this. Some people say that it's never going to be able to actually use 4GB, and that's true. 4 is quite a bit. In the future, maybe. It depends on what kind of game you're running. But I've used quite a bit of this memory, actually, in some intense gaming, where it's really having to store some memory and load things all at the same time. It's really jumped up on some of my memory. So the boost clock on this is supposed to be set to about 1150 megahertz, but actually whenever I'm running this and it really does clock itself, I'm running at 1228 megahertz whenever I'm really in some high games like Bioshock Infinite, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which this came with a free copy of it, the full game. Nvidia was doing a promotion at the time, so that was rather nice. I got to test out some really high-end games. Crysis, I played through the entire series. Crysis 3, it ran phenomenally, about 50 FPS, I think, max. On Crysis 3, everything on ultra settings. It was clocked
as high as it could go factory. I haven't done any clocking on this on my own, not yet, not until I water cool. But yeah, it was running at 1,228 megahertz. It was using about 30% of its memory, so yeah, still have a ton more to go, but it's always nice to have, I guess. And then one thing that was a lot better as compared to this model was the memory clock. This one has a 6005 megahertz memory clock, which this one only had 1100. So 6000, 1000, basically. Wow. This is GDDR5 memory, which means that it's a double data rate in the 5th generation of that. It does have a really, actually, real quick, it has a really nice coolant system on it. It has 220 millimeter fans on the front. I think it's 100 millimeter, either way. It's fairly large PCB, and the coolant alone on it, though, really works well. I mean, I've run this thing for hours on end in some high games like Crysis 3 with all the maxed out settings, and I'll normally stay at or just under 60 degrees Celsius. You can customize it a lot in the settings, so I have my own personal plan for how I want the fans to run, and that was really helpful because I could pretty much choose when I wanted the fans to speed up and whatnot, try and keep it a little bit cooler. About all the main stuff that I really wanted to go in depth with, I'm going to show you just a little bit of the actual computer while it's on performance-wise. I just want to show a little bit of actual performance on this GPU, the 760. I'm running with MSI Combustor, and this is the hardest test that I can possibly give it, and as you can see, it's running really smoothly, quite well. It's only on a 1920 by 1080 display right now because that's all my monitor can handle. The card could do a lot more, but again, this is all that my monitor can do. So it's handling up quite well, though, as you can see. I'll show you a little bit of performance. As you can see, the max FPS that I got was 47, so not too shabby. The analyzing I had a little bit lower than I actually could have. It's only on ×4 MSAA. I could have gone up to ×8, but I didn't. I accidentally clicked the wrong button. While I'm still running Combustor, I just wanted to show you a little bit of the performance data that's going on. As I said, the memory clock is actually 6008, but this is only showing 3005. Why is that? Because it's DDR5, and like I said, the double data rate. So you do 305 times 2, and that comes out with about 610, which they say about 68. So there you go. You know, this is running at 99% of its usage, and it's peaking at about 70 degrees. So I still have some leeway, and my fan speed is still only at 62%. Once it gets over, I think, 75, I have it set to shoot up to 100%, just because I really don't like getting higher in the 70s. It's just quite a bit of heat, and hey, I have some fans, so why don't I might as well run them. And there's my CPU settings. Right now, like I said, it's generally at about 4.128. It's only showing 4.1. And maxing out at about 40 degrees Celsius while running this, only with 2 of my cores. So there's the general high performance of what I'll be running in any kind of game situation. Here's that honeycomb. So I just wanted to show you real quick what the computer looks like, a little bit of a darker setting with it all put together and turned on. These are the lights that I placed in it. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's a little bit weird of a color combination. I know I said that blue and black was my favorite, so why is my computer all lit up red? Well, these 2 front fans that were came with the case only come on red, so you can see they're only red. And the RGB that I placed in there, it was supposed to be an actual RGB, so multicolored, and I could have just chosen the blue, but the way that I hooked it up to a Molex connector, for some reason only the reds are coming on, and for some reason actually the green ones are coming on as red as well, so I'm getting double red, and I already had some blue LEDs put in there on a different color strip entirely, and As you can see, I can turn them off, come back on. And so, yeah, I have two different colors, so it kind of actually is growing on me. Kind of creates a purple effect at some points, and I'm kind of liking it. It's a little bit more unique than only having one color. Some people only have one color, but here I've got two. I didn't mean to do it, but it happened. I'm really kind of growing with it. Yeah, it creates kind of a cool effect here. Now here's one of my favorite points of it, and I saw other people do it, so I really wanted to. I basically just ran my RGB cable directly underneath on this side. I came back, went around, came back. Yeah. So that's what it looks like in the dark. Like I said, on this side you can't really see any of the cables. That's kind of nice because they're all clustered over here, and there's that one big black streak of some right there, but it's black, so it blends in with the case. So yeah, there is my computer. I built this from the ground up. I think this is about the 6th or 7th PC that I've built. I do a lot for, like I said, I built my brother one. I build some for my friends. I'm about to do one for my parents, so I'll be at either 7 or 8 total so far. A lot of people think that it's really difficult to do. It's really not. I can understand a little bit of just kind of figuring out where all the cables go and what's the first step to do, what's the last. But generally, with your motherboard will come a manual. You just read through that and be like, oh, okay, well, I do this first, that second. It'll come together fairly easily. I'm sorry that I didn't actually do a video on showing how to build this thing. I kind of wanted to do more of what a gaming computer is, just kind of the general overview of what you can do for your case if you're looking for ideas on that. Just kind of showing you what kind of parts you can put together, how you can switch them out between my old graphics card and CPU to a new GPU and a new CPU. And then of course what the performance data of mine is, maybe you can compare it. If you have something better, I'd love to see what you guys have built. And if you're maybe looking to upgrade, you can always comment me and I can maybe help you find some parts. It's really not that hard building one, honestly. I think the hardest part is actually picking out what you want to put together. There's so many options. A little bit less for me because, like I said, I'm definitely sticking with AMD no matter what, except for switching over to Nvidia on that GPU. I kind of feel bad about that, but it's running really well, so whatever. So yeah, there's the basic idea of a gaming computer door, and I hope you enjoyed the video. You feel free to comment and let me know what you thought of it, or if you have any questions on maybe whenever you're doing one, I'll be happy to help you with what I can. If not, there's a website that I want to throw out real quick. Obviously, there's Newegg. You can find all your stuff for it, but if you're looking for like advice on doing something, or maybe something's gone wrong with clocking, or you're looking for ideas of how to go about water cooling, or just whatever it may be, there's a website called Linus Tech Tips. It's a great website. It's a great forum. There's so many smart people, way smarter than me. I go there a lot, and they're very quick at posting response to any of your questions. If you want to create a post about a question or whatever, they're very quick to responding. They have a lot of posts already, so if you're looking for something, you can always just find maybe someone else's post. It's just a great website. So overall, I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, have a great day.